Hey, welcome back to another It's Just Ray with me, Raylene Challoner. So we've talked about fostering for a while now, and now I'd like to move on a little bit into who we are as a family, what we do, how we ended up down in the inner city of Milwaukee, what that looks like for us in the next couple of sessions. So I hope you return for those. But for today, I wanted to take you back about 10 years and start a little bit of the story of how we ended up down in the inner city of Milwaukee doing what we do. Andy was asked to be an associate pastor out in a suburban church. And so we packed up, we moved out to the suburbs. We got this 3-bedroom ranch, which I think I've told you about, and it was just the two of us. I was working at the most adorable coffee shop in the world. It's called Latitudes Coffee House. It's on the corner of Pilgrim Road and County Line. Stop in and say hi to Jeff and Heidi and tell them Raylene sent ya. So I was doing the barista thing, Andy was doing the pastor thing, and it was about a year and a half into it where we kind of looked at each other and said, I think we need a little something more. What's that gonna be? What's that gonna look like? Started praying about it, started reading some books, kind of just trying to figure out what was next. Well, we ended up, through some friends of ours, getting in touch with this woman who's an ex-social worker who was matching up single moms with families, mostly out in the suburbs, as kind of a support system for these young ladies. And we instantly were like, yep, that's what we want to do. That gets us excited. So one Sunday we got a phone call from this woman, Sue is her name, said that she had this young lady that was in crisis. She had a 2-week-old baby, and her and the baby daddy had gotten into an altercation, as they say, and she was hurt badly. And would we come and take the baby for a little bit so she could just heal up? Well, we said we were going to do this. Well, what does that mean exactly? It means getting in our friend's car who had done this before, so he was the pro. So he takes us down to that part of the city where now we're very familiar with, and think nothing about going in and out of this part of town, but it's a part of town where really even the cops have kind of just forgotten about. They just kind of let people do their own thing, and you know, if so-and-so shoots so-and-so, well, they kind of go in and they clean up the mess. It's that part of town. So all of a sudden, you know, we're a little nervous, and we find ourselves driving down the freeway to head to this part of the city. And there we are. We park, we walk in, and we've never met these people before, but Sue is there, and so we're kind of like those, you know, people who go to a foreign country, and as soon as you get there, you look for something familiar. We're like, oh, Sue, she's familiar. And so we kind of just right by her. We were like shoulder to shoulder in this huge house. Please don't leave us alone. When I look back, it's really funny. But fear does that to you, right? The fear of the unknown. Man, it does a number on you. And once the unknown becomes the known, that fear is gone. It's amazing how that works. So anyway, we're sitting there, and this young lady, I'm looking at her, and I think we'll call her Angie. Angie was about, I think, 19 or 20 at the time. And she just hands this little baby over to me. And he still had the umbilical cord thingy attached, which, you know, I've never had my own children. We just buy our kids. So the whole umbilical cord thing, yeah. Anyway, it's a little freaky. But we instantly fell in love with this little guy. And we instantly fell in love with his mom. She was beaten up pretty bad. She had been kicked down a couple flights of stairs, and I'd never seen anybody like that other than on TV. So that image stuck with me for a while. But God used that in our hearts, that image of just a broken, battered young lady. So there we are. We've got this 2-week-old baby. Luckily, our friend had a car seat. Put him in the car seat, and we're taking him out into the car. And as we're doing that, you know, these 3 white people walking in the middle of the street with this baby, we hear this van come screeching up. Black van screeches up, and we hear this yelling, this effing and blinding, and where my baby at? Who got my baby? And so we're like, in the car, get in the car, get in the car, get in the car. How he didn't see us, I mean, really, like 3 marshmallows, cup of hot chocolate. You know what I'm saying? Didn't see us. He goes into the house. Who got my baby? I want my baby. So clearly that's baby daddy. In the house he goes, and off we go. So we get the baby home, and we get adjusted, and the baby survives. Thank you, Jesus. Our friends, bless their hearts, they bought us a crib and the best mattress and just all the fun baby stuff, and we were set up. So we kept baby T for 3 or 4 days, and then Mom called back. Could I please have my baby back? Absolutely. Only now we have to go to where she lives and take the baby back. Now, heart's going again, racing, the fear of the unknown. What if they want to hurt me? Why do we immediately go there? I don't know. So down we go with this baby. And now we're face to face with this man who, in our eyes, was a clear abuser. And he's standing there, and I know how my husband feels about children being abused and women being abused, and I'm thinking, this is not going to be pretty. And my husband sticks his hand out to shake this man's hand. And I'm telling you, there was nothing so sexy. I get all choked up. Beautiful. And that began a beautiful friendship between us and their little family. And God started using that. Now, eventually, I told you before in one of these times together that that little family, those 3 children, ended up in our home in foster care. There's a whole story there, but I don't feel free to share that specifically with you guys. But as these children were in our home, we started taking them back to see Mom and Dad. Holidays and just on occasional visits. And it was in their home that we started feeling like, man, we keep leaving a little piece of our heart down here in the city every time we have to go back to the suburbs. We were trained as cross-cultural missionaries. That's kind of our background. And we started realizing as we were having conversations and as we were watching the culture going on around us when we're visiting the parents of these kids, that we sort of got it. And it sort of felt familiar and nice. And the fear, because we started learning about the unknown was now becoming known, that fear started going away. And I think Jesus helped too. Taking that fear away, saying, you know what? This is what I have for you, and it's going to be okay. So we started making inquiries. Now we're into like 3 years of our church life ministry, and some stuff went on at the church that made it really easy to make that change. It was pretty evident that this is what the Lord wanted us to do. So we went to the powers that be, and we said, guys, this is kind of our heart. We don't feel like church planters, but we feel like we need to be in the inner city. And how can we make that happen and stay with the denomination that we're with? So they said, go ahead, plant a church. And we said, we want to be community developers too. Go ahead, be community developers. Which is weird because our denomination doesn't necessarily work in inner cities. So we knew it was really a God thing. And now we were really excited and a little scared. And so that was the beginning of this wild, crazy journey. We just started learning all we could learn, started making trips down on the motorcycle around the city. Man, where do you want us, Lord? Where do you want us? And that was about 5, almost 6 years ago now. So next time we're together, we'll talk maybe a little bit more of what happened next, because there's some pretty cool stories and some pretty funny ones too that we'll share. So I'll say bye for now. See you next time.